Man, I be seeing y'all going crazy with the shit I've been saying on Sway. Niggas be like, yo, Waka said he not black. You're right, I'm not the black America call me, and it's just hard for a nigga to be from the slums, the ghetto, the hood, whatever. Niggas want to say we from, and then when you become this celebrity, you get to walk around the world, get to travel around the world, you get to touch the people, and you get to find out the truth. And then when you get back home, what you call America, and you start telling the truth, the people you see that's in your community that's still plugged in the matrix and still trapped into what society tells you is reality. And you know it's not reality, you know it's not the truth, and it's hard to explain it because you truly learning still. You truly just experiencing false statements and false lifestyles. And it's hard to explain. But just know, my nigga, like, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't the black America side of him. Get the fuck out the matrix, y'all.
All right, let's set the record straight. Africans sailed the globe before any other race came into existence. Fact. With that being said, I have no problem with black people claiming aboriginal status to America because we were here first before any other race. But where did those people that were here first come from? They came from Africa. Study the migrations of the Africans out of Africa and you would know that. It's common sense. You guys are trying to push the agenda that most black people in America aren't African, and that's false. We're not going to do that. You playing semantics. Where did those people, they didn't just pop up and appear out of nowhere in America. They came from somewhere first before they were here. So I don't mind y'all claiming aboriginal status to America, but you denying your African roots is what I have a problem with. You guys are African. I don't care. You can argue with me all you want to. I'm not hearing nothing what you got to say. You're African, period. Your ancestors came from Africa. That's the motherland. Fuck what you call it.
What's up, y'all? Thank you so much for taking the time out to come to my channel and check out this video. So I'm gonna try and keep my eyes on the camera and not look at myself on the screen the whole time I'm making this video. But so Waka Flocka recently made a post. Yeah, a lot of people in the Afro-American community know about this. Or I wouldn't say he made a post, but you know, he made a few statements that is causing quite a bit of an uproar and debate within the Afro-American community. So I wanted to make this video to go ahead and break down where Waka Flocka is coming from and how he's thinking in terms of what he said, because I know and I see in a lot of his other posts that he's just reiterating kind of what, you know, it's hard to explain, but I'm gonna just leave it. I'm gonna just leave that where it's at, but it's hard to explain. But trust me, just trust that I'm onto something. It's pretty much what he's saying. So I feel that for those who are genuinely curious and for those who are genuinely trying to understand or wanting to understand where he's coming from, that I could go ahead and clear some air on that. So the first thing I want to clear up is a lot of people that seem to be confused or confused with what Waka Flocka is saying usually come back with the ideal or the thought that everything springs from Africa, as in everyone and all life evolved out of Africa. And I know that in college, when I was getting my bachelor's, that I took a lot of anthropology classes, and they teach this in anthropology, this notion that everybody came and evolved from this one black body, from this one black woman, or this African woman in Africa, and that's just how all life began, and then evolution occurred and everything started to change. Well, the thing about that is the truth, I say so many times, the truth tends to be told in the form of a lie, and the lie tends to be told in the form of the truth. And both, it's like, it's not necessarily, what you're saying isn't necessarily wrong, but it's not necessarily correct either. So a lot of people are coming with this idea that, you know, we all came from Africa, we all evolved from Africa. So by you saying that you're not an African American, you're denoting your ancestral lineage. You know, you're denoting, you're just kind of completely disassociating yourself from this falsified truth. So the real truth of the matter is, everyone did not come from Africa. Everyone did not come from this one black body, this one black woman just gave birth to the world. I know that's something that we kind of, especially in the Afro-American community, have conditioned ourselves to a conclusion, like, oh, this is the conclusion, you know, the black woman, everything came from her, you know, because she's this all-powerful being. And the story isn't all the way off, but like I said, it goes a little differently. In terms of beings and people that are here, we usually like to think that, you know, Aryans, Caucasians came here and they're pretty much the only foreigners, and everybody else is just a different type of black. So, you know, everybody else is family, but the Caucasians are the invaders. And the reality is that the Aryans and the Caucasians are not the only beings that came to this earth. That causes a lot of confusion about what Waka Flocka said is many people are still not aware that this earth that we live on is a little bit more complex than we think it is. You have to address a lot of different things, a lot of other lies have to be unfolded in your mind in order for us to really understand the complex reality that we're dealing with. And though that complex reality deals with, you know, the fact that the earth that we live on is not a round sphere, it's a dome planet. It's flat essentially, and it's surrounded by ice. And that goes way back into Pangea, when you think about, you know, what was before Africa, when all of the continents were combined. When all of the continents were combined, we had Pangea. And Pangea was, what you gonna call that? You gonna call that Africa? No, you can't call that Africa. You have to call that what it is, the earth. Like, it was the earth. So associating these names with, or these classifications, you know, putting these classifications on ourselves is a way of systematically kind of telling you who you are. And essentially it is disassociating ourselves from the world. You know, Africa is not just Africa when you're thinking of Africa in the sense of the origin. Africa, you know, if you're thinking of it like that, the whole world should be considered Africa. But what Waka Flocka is saying is he's disassociating himself with that name, because that name is it does not justify the rights of the true indigenous people that originated from the earth. Africa, before you have all these continents, you have one earth. Okay, you have one earth, and springing from this earth is one type of being. Okay, and this being is what is known as the original indigenous primordial earth being. Okay, whatever term you would like to use to say first, pretty much, of first, the beginning, the original. So those are original, native, those are justified terms in telling the truth to who you are. Those are terms that rightly justify your right to not just Africa, but the whole entire planet. You know what I'm saying? You were here first, and not everybody else was here first. And that's just the reality of it. There's a lot of other beings that came here in search for gold. They came here with their gods in search for gold. And I will tell you, all of these beings were not, none of these beings were originally white. None of these beings were white. All of these beings came here to this earth, and they came and they were all black skinned. All of their deities were black skinned. This is why you can go back in history and see the black Buddha. You can see the black Krishna. You can see the black Madonna in Europe. You can see all of these ancient black figures and Kemet, and all of these are all extraterrestrial beings that came here, and they were originally black skinned. But no, they were not original beings of the earth. They came here and they had to use some of our DNA in order to survive here. So a lot of the similarities that you may find in yourself and these other races is only because they had to use your DNA to survive. And that's why a lot of these nations, when you look at them and you see their genetic DNA and their genetic markers, Natombe, I'm making a video. So yeah, that's why when a lot of these, or when you look at a lot of these other races, you'll notice that a lot of them look the same. Like the the Asian Mongolian race, you know what I'm saying? They all kind of pretty much look alike. Like the Hindu race, they all pretty much kind of look alike. When you go to Africa, like there isn't really too much variation unless you go to different tribes and different sanctions of Africa, because they were different gods and deities of a different phenotype that ruled over these areas. You know, when you go to Europe, Europe is a little different because Europe consists of, originally it was the Moors that resided in Europe. So originally the Moors resided in Europe, and when the Aryans came, the Moors took the Aryans in and made them their servants and made them pretty much like their slaves. They made them pretty much not like slaves in a slave sense, but they were their servants, and they implemented a lot of cruelties upon them. And you know, a lot of people whenever you get to talking about something having to do with, you know, the history of a people, whenever it's something they don't necessarily want to hear, it's like rejected. But in order to evolve, we have to embrace certain things. Like the Moors did implement seriously insane treatments onto the Aryans, and this is where the Aryans get a lot of their practices from, especially colorism, racism, all of these isms. Like, you know, they came here and they caught on real quick to the nature of what was going on. And meanwhile, I've said enough about these other beings that came to this earth plane. But meanwhile, the original people of the earth were primarily, I mean, we were everywhere. Originally, we were everywhere. But I would say primarily we were in the Americas. We were in the Americas, primarily in the Americas. And the majority of the practices that all of these other beings partake in were original practices of the Aboriginal American. And this is why it is so important that we have to start waking up to these certain truths, that the Aboriginal American is more than just another black person in another part of the world. The Aboriginal American is the original being of the earth. No matter where you go, everybody got a problem with the African American. No matter where you go, everybody treats the African American some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Even in Africa, even in Africa, they don't really like to associate themselves with the Afro American. And if you also notice, anything that the Afro American does is replicated across the world. Anything that we do or partake in is looked at. It might not be, you know, spoken verbally, but you can see all over the world, whatever we do, if our women is stripping in the club and our women is, you know, popping and twerking and shaking for dollars, you're gonna see that same stuff going on in other countries. If our men, you know what I'm saying, are in the strip clubs, making it rain, you know what I'm saying, pimping and doing gangster stuff to survive, you know, all these things that we do, we have an immense energy. We have an immense energy that has the power to influence. It has the power to influence in a large way. So this is why a lot of people are getting upset and going against this newfound wave of energy, because once the original people begin to realize that we are the original people, then we're no longer giving energy to these other beings, to these other causes that are not they're not really our cause. You know, right now we're giving a lot of our energy to Africa and these beings that are of Africa, specifically the Moors. We're giving a lot of energy to that, and they're getting upset because the people who are really Africans and really have like African descendancy and African ancestry, you know, coming from other star systems, they're getting upset. They don't want that energy to shift. They don't want you to disassociate yourself with them anymore. You know, they don't want you to tap back into you. And that's where a lot of this uproar is coming from. Us that are receiving all this information, and they kind of like looked at the statement Waka Flocka made with a question mark in their mind, or you know, they're rejecting it. A lot of us is still fighting to be free. You know, a lot of us soulfully are trapped because, you know, I'm talking about all these races and I'm talking about all these beings, but in truth, you know, the soul is what counts. The soul is what matters. And a lot of us are still trapped souls. Our souls are still fighting to be free. And I can tell when I get into certain debates or have certain conversations, and you know, I feel that energy that a part of them really wants to be liberated. Something inside of them, you know, that deep-seated soul wants to be resurrected, but there's these spirits, you know what I'm saying, clinging on to them. You know, it's almost like literally like demons, these oversouls. You know, like the movie Get Out. I say all the time, like, if you ever seen the movie Get Out, that movie has so much esoteric meaning. You know, it's there. You know, there are spirits that are literally trapping these souls, these primordial souls in these bodies, and they're using their bodies as a vessel. They're using these people as vessels, you know, to carry out certain things. But the soul really wants to be free, and I can feel it in a lot of people. So that's why I want to make this video, you know, because at the end of the day, I love my family, and everything I do is in light and in love and wisdom of my ancestors and my future descendants that will come back here on this earth. You know, we deserve to know the truth. Everyone deserves the truth, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how, you know, weird or foul or, you know, whatever. As long as you're saying it from the heart, as long as it's coming from the heart and your intentions are pure, then speak, ask, question, how, why. Like, these things we deserve to know, and the resurrection is coming.
They're saying he's from Africa. He better be just moved in here from Africa, because he hung around Louisiana at any given time. He don't know what he is.
They look at us as a diluted race.
I tell my people a lot of time back in the village, most people are more closer to being a mutt without a pedigree than ones with a pedigree.
That's right.
If you don't know where you come from in your genealogy, you're just a mutt.
That's right.
Now, you can get mad with me, brother, but I want you to move from being a mutt to having a pedigree. I'm saying you come from somewhere, from somebody. Let's lay that out. Yeah. So that they can stop making us feel like we just a gumbo.
That's right.
Who are your ancestors and which way did they come here?
That's right.
Because otherwise, you just saying you're from Africa, nobody's paying you any attention either. You just as bad off or worse. Because at least I have some land papers saying I was here. Now I want you to show me your land papers that you were in Africa.
We've got